This is episode 101, and the question that we're dealing with is why is it that so many of us struggle with finances as often as we do? Now, this is part of the Personal Financial Literacy Basics program where we're going to be discussing a number of other topics later on. But in this particular video, we're talking about why do we struggle with finances the way we do. Now, before we get into any detail, let's just remind ourselves that the focus of our work here is to take the principles of the Bible and those of science, put them together, and what we have found is where the two work together, magic begins to happen. Now, what are some of the questions that people who struggle with finances on a consistent basis actually say? They say things like, oh, am I really cursed? Why is it that things never work for me? Or sometimes you find yourself in a situation where you have so much money saved up, you want to do something very important, and on a consistent basis, something always happens that makes it impossible for you to get to that point where your finances are, where you're comfortable with. But it's also things like persistently things fall apart at the last minute. Obviously, there's so many things that we could be saying when we're going through this problem, but let's just come back to really dealing with the root cause of the problem. The problem could be historical, it could be structural, but for our purposes in this video, we're just going to focus on something that we can do something about. So the question is, what is the root cause of my persistent money problems? The root cause of your persistent money problems is because you have bought into a lie. Now, what is that lie that so many of us have bought into? The lie is this: making more money is the solution to my money problems. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a logical statement. Obviously, if I have 10 bucks, I can buy so many things, but if I have 100 bucks, I can buy a lot more. So it sounds logical to say, no, I need to earn more so I can get rid of my money problems. But this is the problem that I'm talking about. That statement is a trap. It's going to keep you on this rat race, on this hamster wheel for a very long time. Now, what is fundamentally wrong with the statement? Now, look at it this way. Don't you earn more today than you did 5, 10 years ago? So how come your money problem didn't go away? Now, let's get even more dramatic. There are people who at one point or another end up with so much money. But fast forward 5, 10 years down the line, they are broke. Why do people who are rich end up losing the money that they had? So that should tell you that having more money is not a solution to, or can never be a solution to your money problem. It could, but on a consistent basis, it's never going to be the case. But what is the solution to my money problems? So we're saying if for as long as you think that making more money is going to be a solution to money problems, you're going to find yourself on this hamster wheel on a perpetual basis, running this red race that's going to lead you to nowhere. Now, what we have here, it's a model, we call it the belief action spiral, that shows you how your actions are the practical expressions of what you believe. So if you believe something that's not true, you're going to end up taking actions that are not going to give you the result that you're supposed to get because what you're believing in is not true. Now, Jesus Christ did say, they shall know the truth and the truth shall set them free, which means where there is no freedom, in all likelihood, you have the falsehood, you have lies operating. We're saying part of the problem that you facing this financial issues on a regular basis is because you have believed a lie, and that lie is that the solution to my money problems is to earn more money. Now, while that is not a bad thing, any more money, in fact, it's a good thing, but that's not going to be the solution to your money problems. But what is? The solution to your money problems is to have a mental shift. In other words, to change your belief about money. Now, what we're saying is the solution is this: making money, it's a game. Like money management, it's a game. That's very important because what that means is whether you earn here or you earn here, it's possible for you to get to a destination that's a lot more pleasant than where you are currently. But what does it mean to say money management, it's a game? It means that there's a certain way that you have to manage your money in order to achieve goals that are important to you. So it's not just about anymore. Anymore is one of those things, but there are other things that you have to do in order to achieve the goal that's important to you. What exactly does it mean saying earning more money is not going to be the solution, but more importantly, saying money management is a game. So if you say this is a new game that you have to be learning, what is the most important question you have to ask yourself? It's not how do I play the game. The most important question is how do I win the game? Think about it this way. If I say I'll give you 100 million, but you must go kill your entire family, would you want to play that game? Most of us will say, no, 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 you can keep your money. But that's why it's important. It's not about how you play the game that matters. It's how you win the game. What are the things that you need to do in order to win? That's really what's important. Now, so how do you win the money game in this particular case? You win the money game by growing money trees, by growing what we call money trees. What are money trees? Money trees are basically two types of assets: assets that appreciate in value over time. It could be a piece of property that you buy, it could be shares, stocks that you buy that in good company that are going to appreciate in value over time. That's the first thing. Assets that appreciate in value. The second one is assets that generate cash flow. Now, you need a combination of those two money trees. Now, what's important about money trees is think about it. If you have this money trees growing in your financial garden, every time you get to a point where you need a certain amount of money, you just go to the money tree and oops, you pull one fruit there, you put oops, you pull enough fruit for you to achieve the goal, to meet the need at hand. So money trees will help you to have more money coming in to more than cover your expenses. That's really what's important about money trees. But the question is, so how do I grow these money trees? How do I end up with this huge orchard full of these good money trees? The way to do that is to use these three drivers. We call them control levers. And the three are yourself, time, and assets. Now, of the three, which one do you think is the most important? Is it assets? No, it's not assets. Is it time? No, it's not time. It's yourself. You are the navigator of the ship. You are the pilot of your financial aircraft. You're the driver of your financial vehicle. And many of us are poor because, as the driver, as a navigator, as a pilot, we are not doing the job we're supposed to be doing. So you are the boss, you are the master. Your time is your servant. And as your servant, your time, unlike people, wants to diligently serve you. It's like, Master, please give me work to do. And it really wants to do immense work for you. Now, the fundamental problem so many of us have financial problems is because we are the master, but we are not instructing these two, time and assets, our servants, to go out there and make money for us. So in this particular case, we're talking about finances, so we'll stick to the financial metaphors. So essentially, your time wants to do work for you. Now, what happens when you have a faithful servant who wants to do work, but you not giving them anything to do? They're going to sit there idle, basically bored, or at worst, they're going to go work for somebody else because they want to keep busy. They want to work. So you have failed to give your time an assignment. Now, this is something else about time. Time, two things I want to talk about. One is time is a constant. It affects everybody equally. You have 24 hours a day. I have 24 hours a day. But if I get more done in 24 hours, that means I'm using my time, I'm using the servant of mine profitably. Now, how could I do that? If I have 24 hours, you have 24 hours, how could I potentially get more done in 24 hours? It's because I use what we call leverage tools. Now, leverage is really a physics concept. The way it works is, think of a door. A child can open a door. Why? Because the hinges are the ones that are making it possible. The child does a little bit of work, but the hinges will do disproportionately more work. That's what really leverage is all about. So what we say is you need to give your time an assignment, but you also need to give your time leverage tools. So your time can say, okay, fine, this one is going to do this one is going to do this one is going to do, because the rule, that's the first thing. We said time, it's a constant, so it affects everybody equally. But some people get more done than others because they use leverage tools. The second thing about time is a multiplier. You're supposed to give your time an assignment, and whatever you give your time to do is going to multiply that. So if you give it good assets, it's going to go out there and multiply those good assets. So you say you are the navigator of the ship. You're supposed to give an assignment to go make money to your time, and the time will say, boss, I am so thrilled that you've given me this assignment. I'm going to go there and make money for you. But remember, I need my friend to come with me. It's my partner, and that partner is assets. Those leverage tools we're talking about. So your time is going to say, boss, give me assets to work with. So basically, there are two types of assets. It's consumption type assets and production type assets. So which ones are you going to give your time? Now, in the context of growing money trees, it's obviously will be more profitable to give your time consumption type assets. Yes? No, you must give it production type assets. These are the assets that are going to appreciate in value over time. And that's what we spoke about earlier. If you give your time consumption type assets, time is going to multiply them and you're going to end up with more expenses down the line. Time is going to multiply them, and this will be worth less over time. And that's why it's very important. So we're saying you are the navigator of the ship, you're the pilot of the aircraft, you must give instructions. So the reason so many of us are struggling with finances is because we have not consistently at least been giving the assignment to do work to our servant, who is time. Now time, if we give him the right assignment, will go and fetch his body. We call the two of them the power couple. That body is assets, the right assets at least, and together they will go and make money for you. But how does that work in practice? We have here what we call the blessing model. So it starts with beliefs, and it's learning, and it's earning, and it's saving, it's investing, and then it's managing wisely. Management is critical because your entire life is about managing things appropriately to achieve specific goals. But remember what we said about the power of beliefs? So that's why we're saying the way to get out of this hamster wheel, out of this rat race, is to have a shift in mindset, basically to change your beliefs, to stop believing the lie that any more money is a solution to your money problems. You need to look and see things differently and believe things in this way, that money management is a game. If money management is a game, it means anybody, irrespective of where they are, they can move to a higher level. And we've explained what are some of the drivers are. And we're saying the blessing model is a practical tool to help you move from where you are to where you want to get to. Now, every person has needs, and that's why it's important we have Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, we'll just focus on the 5 layers and not the 7 as some models have. So we're saying you have the basic physiological needs, and you will have, other layers of needs like belonging, etc., etc. So, but remember, those needs have to be funded. If you're hungry, you need to get food to satisfy the hunger. Now, this is where we get what's called the personal financial planning pyramid. So, the personal financial planning pyramid effectively says for each of the needs that we have on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there are specific assets that are appropriate. So, you need to be making sure that you get the right assets to fund these relevant types of needs. So you have at the base, you have obviously earnings and cash flow, and you have the second level, and you have everything moving up. Now, the fundamental problem is so many of us focus on the first level and the bottom of the pyramid, in other words, and the second layer, where, which is about security and basically making sure the foundation is stable. But we never moved above that. And remember, can you see what the next layer is? The next layer is about acquiring growth assets. It is this money trees that we've been talking about. But obviously, for money trees to grow consistently, the foundation needs to be strong. And this is what we're talking about. Now, obviously, in this video, we're not going to go into detail about, the different types of financial products that are suitable. And, we'll have separate videos, a number of them, that are going to talk specifically about the different types and the different wants. So we're saying this is where you are and you are unhappy with the quality of your finances. So what options do you have? So you need to leave here and get to this point here. So if you look at one of our earlier videos, we spoke about the power of storytelling in helping us to navigate through the journey. And we also spoke about 100% success formula that you can use to achieve whatever goals are important. We spoke about that being becoming or identity. And that's essentially what you're saying. So you're starting here and you're going to be navigating your way to where you want to get to. We call that the adventure curve. So you start out here, you're very excited. Oh, I've just learned something new. This is what I'm going to do. Oh, life is good, or life is going to get good. And then what's going to happen next? The reality of the situation is kind of in. You're going to have to invest time learning. You're going to have to invest time meeting new people, a whole lot of things. And then you're going to get to a point where you say, oh, this is so difficult. I wish it could be easier. But that's really the point. Now, the issue is, are you going to end up settling in that zone of despair? And this is what a lot of us have done because we believe this lie and we tried doing this and trying doing this and trying to do this. Nothing was working. So we like, who cares? Who cares? Money is not important anyway, and we start telling ourselves those kind of lies. But that's really what the point is. The journey is going to become a lot harder before it can become a lot better. And this is what the adventure curve is telling us. Now, the thing about the financial planning pyramid is a model that helps us to take step by step actions towards the outcome that's important to us. Now, do you think that is something you can do? Now, let me put it to you this way. Can you put together a functional garden? Can you create a garden? If you can create a garden, and anybody can create a garden, because we did this as children as part of our project at school. If you can create a garden, you can move from where you are to a better situation where you have all this orchard of money trees that are going to help you to become financially free. So the first part about setting up a garden is you prepare the soil and you sow seeds, you plant seeds and you protect them, you nurture and you grow your plants, you manage the harvest, and you hand over to the next generation. That's effectively the same steps that are required by the financial planning pyramid. So we're saying as step number one, we're just putting it in a slightly different way. We say step number one, it's earnings and cash flow. Number two, it's foundation and security. Number three is you buy growth assets. Number four is you preserve your wealth. Remember, when you have something of value, people are always going to come and want to take it away from you. And number five is you make sure that you transfer that wealth in the best possible way. Again, we're saying, how do you change your relationship with money? Because at the moment, money is really troubling you. How are you going to change the relationship? Money is bullying you and you're allowing it to bully you. So what we say, how are you going to do things differently? Now we say three things are critical. Number one is, remember in an earlier episode, we spoke about entropy. Entropy is entropy is really a natural law that says when things are left unattended, they're going to continue to deteriorate. That's effectively what entropy says. So we said in that lesson, and this is what we're saying again now, is if you find yourself with finances that keep crumbling, that means you've allowed entropy to take over. So what you need to do is you need to impose order. And how do you do that? Number one is you make a decision to take authority over the situation. Money is supposed to be your servant, just like your time is your servant. You are the navigator of the ship. The pilot of the aircraft is supposed to give instructions. You're the master. You're supposed to give them instructions. So you're the master who's being bullied by his servants. Let's turn things around. You must give instructions. Your time to go make money for you, and time will say, that's cool, boss. I need my partner in crime to come along, and that's assets. Okay, so but you need to be giving instructions. Now, this is the funny thing about your servants. If they don't work for you, if you don't give them instructions to work for you, they're going to find somebody else to work for against you. And that's really, I think, the sad situation. That's why we find ourselves in this situation, because we haven't been giving them instructions to work for us. They want to work for us, not for somebody else. So number one, make a decision to take authority of the situation. And number two, master the basics. learn how money works, learn how the game is played. Remember what he said about a new game? The most important thing is, how do I win the game? And he said you win the game by cultivating money trees, lots and lots of money trees. And that's how you end up creating a situation where you can be financially free, where you can be financially independent. Financial independence, financial freedom, where you have financial security. So number one, and I'm repeating this over and over because it's so important. One is make a decision to take authority over your money situation. Number two, learn the basics, how the game is played, and master them. And number three is manage things in such a way that your ecosystem benefits from your success. So number one, take authority over the situation. Two, master the basics. And three, make sure that your wins are enjoyed by the ecosystem. The question now is, what are you going to do differently? We have a basic financial literacy course, and it's really quite powerful. What I've just explained, the course goes into a lot more detail, showing you step by step how you can turn the situation around. And this is where you can find access to that course when you are ready to make things happen. There's also a number of books that we recommend, and you'll find this in the description below. These are going to be helpful as part of your journey. Remember, we said learning is a very critical part of changing your belief system and is part of mastering the basics. I hope you found value in this video. If you have, and those of us who subscribed, who have been, entering the comments and liking and that kind of stuff, thank you very much for doing that, because that helps for YouTube to take this video and show it to more people, because they say, oh, if somebody has been finding value, if so many people are finding value in it, I think we need to show it to more people. And thank you very much for everything. See you in the next video. Bye bye.